Everyone, and welcome into the Mercer County Football Show here on WBCB1490.com alongside the Trentonians George O'Gorman, Mike Sampson with you. Brought to you by the St. Francis Medical Center, your heart hospital in the city of Trenton, and also by the Trentonian for the most complete local and national sports coverage on both sides of the river. 7 days a week, it is the Trentonian and online at Trentonian.com. George, playoff week number 1. Mercer County fared pretty well. They had some wins, they had some losses. Unfortunately, Trenton falls by the wayside, but I would say the most impressive performance of the week goes to the Hopewell Valley Bulldogs.
You're exactly correct on that one. Hopewell Valley getting over 200 yards from Andrew Yuska, 2 touchdowns from Mike Geis, and you saw the receptions.
Yeah,
they were unbelievable. I mean, he had a huge game, and Austin Fellows, despite 2 interceptions, came back and threw well.
Yeah,
and they overpowered a Ewing team that hadn't been in the playoffs and had struggled. And I know Drew Bester wasn't happy with the way the schedule worked for Ewing this year. They came in at, I guess it was 5-4, or 5-3 at the time, and they lost. There was some teams they beat Cinnaminson earlier to open their season. Cinnaminson played well in the playoffs. Delran won its playoff game. Holy Cross won its playoff game, huge fashion over Hudson Catholic. Ewing just couldn't get started. Really, you saw the game, Mike. Vondy Hall tried to throw the ball against that Hopewell pass rush, which was really couldn't accomplish anything.
Yeah.
And Devontae Ellis had a good game running the ball, but they were the only 2 weapons that Ewing had, and Hopewell Valley's got so many weapons.
Yeah, they absolutely do. It is a very, very good football team over at Hopewell Valley, and we'll have them once again this week for you on the WBCB Sports Network as they will be in action at Ocean. That game will be coming up on Friday night. The other great game that we saw in Mercer County, West Windsor-Plainsboro North, for quite a long time. Put a scare into Brick Township on Friday night.
Yeah, they put a scare into Brick Township, led at halftime, and just made a couple of mistakes in the second half, and it cost them. And remember, Brick was the top seed. But that was an outstanding performance on the part of Kevin Murphy. Again, he threw for, let's check his numbers. He threw for 294 yards.
Wow.
204 yards. He was 20 for 33. He had 2 touchdown passes, and he was intercepted once. And as far as his receiving totals, Jawan Harrison, 11 catches, 169 yards. That puts Jawan Harrison up over 1,000 yards, I believe, receiving, and 62 receptions. And Jack O'Connell, 3 catches, 54 yards. If he can find a couple of receivers next year, Chris Casamento's going to have an high-powered offense again. Yeah. Because Kevin Murphy's coming back, and there's a kid that threw for close to 2,500 yards this year.
Yeah, very good quarterback.
I think he's only the 3rd quarterback in Mercer County history with over 2,000 passing yards. And I think he may be the all-time leader now. He's only a junior.
Yeah, we'll step aside, take a quick time out here on the Mercer County Football Show. When we come back, we'll recount the results from last week from Saturday afternoon, in case you missed any of those as well. And then we'll preview the games that are still coming up this week in Mercer County. Nottingham and Hopewell Valley, as well as Lawrence, still alive, and we'll have 2 of those 3 on the WBCB Sports Network this weekend. We'll step aside and take a quick time out. Back with more after this here on the Mercer County Football Show.
St. Francis Medical Center's new walk-in clinics are now open in Hamilton and Ewing 7 days a week. Now, when that unexpected cold or flu pops up and you can't get an appointment with your doctor for 2 or 3 days, you can visit St. Francis Medical Center's walk-in clinics in the Hamilton ShopRite on Route 33 or the Ewing ShopRite on North Olden Avenue. These new walk-in centers are manned by a nurse practitioner or a physician's assistant, and they can give you a prescription when you need it most. They even provide immunizations and physicals, and most health insurance is accepted. No insurance? No problem. Visits cost as little as $49. Appointments aren't necessary, and most of the time there's no wait. St. Francis Medical Center's walk-in clinics, now open in the Hamilton ShopRite on Route 33 and the Ewing ShopRite on North Olden Avenue, Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. till 8 p.m., Saturdays and Sundays from 9 a.m. till 3.
Welcome back to the Mercer County Football Show here on WBCB1490.com alongside George O'Gorman, Mike Samsel with you, presented by the St. Francis Medical Center, your heart hospital in the city of Trenton, and also the Trentonian. Be sure to check them out online at Trentonian.com. Starting out in Central Jersey Group 3, we already talked about Hopewell Valley getting the victory. Warren Hills fell to Ocean Township 35-13. That set up the matchup we have this Friday night coming up down in Ocean Township.
Yeah, that should be quite an interesting matchup because you've got Hopewell Valley going in at 8-1, taking on an Ocean Township team that's 9-0.
Mm-hmm.
And Ocean Township, as you said, rolled over Warren Hills 35-13 at home, while Hopewell Valley posted the 33-0 blanking of Ewing. Ocean Township averaging 26.3 points per game. Their closest games have been 7-6 over Wall, 7-0 over Neptune, and 7-3 over Matawan. They've been over 20 points 6 times, over 30 5 times, and twice they've been over 50 points.
Mm-hmm.
They're just quite an offensive machine, and it's going to be a big test not only for Hopewell Valley's offense, but for their defense. And what we've seen all year has been an outstanding defensive effort on the part of Hopewell Valley.
Mm-hmm.
So Friday night over there, I guess that they're in Oakhurst, or they're right near Monmouth University. They're not far from Monmouth Park, kind of off Route 35. Ocean Township, pretty good ball club. I remember seeing Ocean Township years ago when they came up to Lawrence and knocked off the top-seeded Cardinals and went on to win the Central Jersey Group 3 championship. So Friday night, that should be quite a matchup for Dave Caldwell's Hopewell Valley Bulldogs. It'll be interesting to see what Todd Smith, the offensive coordinator, installs for this game. You know, they've been able to throw the ball. Austin Fellows has had another game with 2 interceptions, but you know, he responded in a big way in that win over Ewing. He ended up throwing for 240 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was 11 for 29 despite 3 interceptions. And he really got an outstanding. Mike Geis, as we said, 5 catches, 95 yards, 2 touchdowns. Drew Wiley, 3 catches for 65. He spread the ball around, and Andrew Yuska, 25 for 227, 2 touchdowns.
Wow.
You know, so it's quite an offensive juggernaut that Hopewell Valley has put together, and one of their strengths has always been defense.
Right.
This year they've got the offensive package to go along with it. And, you know, it should be quite an interesting game. A Hopewell Valley team that's been averaging around 30 points, 33 points a game, going up against a high-powered Ocean Township ball club, 9-0, averaging 26.3 points a game. So that's quite a matchup, and we'll be there Friday night to broadcast that game on 107.7 The Bronx, right?
Yeah, it should be a great one. We'll be there.
We'll be there, and it should be an interesting matchup for Hopewell Valley. And then remember, Hopewell Valley, they can win that game, then they come back on Thanksgiving morning at Lawrence. And what a matchup that would be if both of them, both Lawrence and Hopewell Valley, win this weekend to set up a possible matchup the first weekend in December for the Central Jersey Championship after they meet on Thanksgiving Day.
Yeah. That could certainly
Quite
be
interesting stuff there.
Yeah, definitely could be. Lawrence was victorious 21-14 over Allentown. We expected that to be a very good football game. It was.
It was an outstanding game. Lawrence found themselves behind early on as Jay Graber's Allentown Redbirds got a touchdown from Davion Thomas. But the Cardinals bounced back. They got a 19-yard touchdown run by Samai Mitchell, and then a 24-yard pass from Nick Falkenberg to Samai Mitchell. And Falkenberg ended up throwing for 2 touchdowns in that game. And he was 5 for 12, one interception, 66 yards. Didn't have to throw the ball a lot, but yet out of his 5 completions, 2 of them went for touchdowns. And Cameron Kitchen had a catch for 19 yards. Samai Mitchell had a catch for 14 yards. And first playoff win ever for the Lawrence Cardinals. Going back to the days of Ed Shirk and Len Weister and, you know, Rob Radiss's Cardinals had lost some tough games. including two that I saw right there at the Cardinals field. That one game where they played, I think it was Ocean Township, and Brett Brackett threw a touchdown pass, and the referees called it back, said we didn't blow the whistle. I mean, they came out of a timeout, got right behind center. Brackett threw a great touchdown pass right down the middle, and the referee called it off and said, no, we didn't blow the whistle. Yet the people on the Ocean Township side said, we heard the whistle.
Yeah.
But, and they ended up losing by 3 points.
Right.
And Ocean Township, as I said, went on to beat Nottingham and win that Central Jersey title up at Rutgers. And then, that was the year they beat Ocean Township, beat Nottingham in the finals up at Rutgers on a Friday night. And then the next time they lost, Lawrence lost at home to Moorestown, and Moorestown went on to win the Central Jersey. Although they're no longer in Central Jersey, now they're in South Jersey.
Right.
But I'll tell you what, this interesting matchup coming up where Rob Radiss's Cardinals coming in at 9-0. They're playing a Carteret team that's 7-2. Got 5 Central Jersey titles under their, in their resume. Their 2 losses have been 23-14 to St. Joseph Metuchen and 33-14 to South Plainfield. They've won 6 in a row, and as you said, they beat Long Branch 13-3 last week, coming from behind late to win that game after it was a close game early on. And I'll tell you what, Carteret, they play in that Greater Middlesex Conference, and they're not a bad ball club. They can move the ball, and it's going to be a big test for the Lawrence defense, which has pretty much been overshadowed by what its offense has done. But I'll tell you what, this should be an interesting matchup. I'll be out there watching that. First opportunity I've had to see the Cardinals this year. Unfortunately, the way things have worked out, haven't had the opportunity to see them. But Carteret, as we said, they had their 6th straight win, and they finished with 135 yards rushing by Terrell Marix, and he had 135 yards on 22 carries, and Corey Baccarella 64 yards on 14 runs. So this is 2 pretty evenly matched teams.
Yeah.
Lawrence has rolled on in Mercer County, and if the Cardinals can win, post that 2nd win in their history in the playoffs, and it would set up, wouldn't that be great? They play on Thanksgiving, and then they come back the next week to play for the Central Jersey Championship.
Well, it's funny. I was just thinking about how we talk about how far Mercer County football has come. Last year they won their first championship since, 1989, I believe.
1989.
And now this year we could have in Central Jersey Group 3 2 Mercer County teams playing each other.
That's, very possible. Of course, it would be great if we could get 3, if Nottingham could get back to the championship
absolutely.
game. Nottingham has got a big test at home. There's 2 games in the county on Saturday, again at 1 o'clock kickoffs. You've got Nottingham hosting Colts Neck, and you've got Carteret at Lawrence. Interesting matchup here in this Colts Neck. They're having their best season ever. Their coach is Greg LaCava. Now, you got to have been around Mercer County football for a while to remember Greg LaCava. He was a coach at Allentown. He started coaching at Allentown in 1999 before they ever joined the Colonial Valley Conference.
Right.
They were a member of the Shore Conference, and Greg never had a winning season there at Allentown. He was 2-8 his first year, 4-5 his second year, 3-6, then 2-8 and 2-8. His last 2 years, he did get a chance to play Nottingham, and they defeated him 8-0 in his 2003 season, and Nottingham also beat him 43-18. So Greg LaCava knows something about Mercer County football, and Colts Neck is 3-6 in the playoffs. They started the season with 4 consecutive shutouts. Here's an interesting stat. They defeated Middletown North 42-0.
Wow.
And remember, Nottingham had to hold on late to beat Middletown North last week in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So maybe that's hopefully that's not an indication of what's in store for the North Stars this week. But Colts Neck got an excellent defense led by Nick Volpe, the linebacker, and Anthony Gargiulio. He's a defensive end and a running back. And here's an interesting stat on Anthony Gargiulio. Went over 3,000 yards for his career in their win over Neptune. Mm-hmm. Now, they knocked out last year's, in their opening game, they knocked out last year's Central Jersey Group 3 finalists.
Yeah.
Now they get a chance to come in and play the team that won Central Jersey. Gargiulio had a record-setting day in that 35-14 win over Neptune. Ran for 287 yards and 3 touchdowns. Puts his career total at 3,152 yards. He's got 21 touchdowns in this season, 41 for his career.
Yeah, that's certainly very impressive. And also taking a look at things in non-public Group 4, there wasn't really a close game in Round 1 in non-public Group 4. Paramus Catholic beat Notre Dame 55-14. Don Bosco beat Seton Hall Prep 55-7. St. Augustine Prep pulled somewhat of an upset over St. Joseph's Metuchen 6-3 upset. 45-28 was the final in that one. And St. Peter's Prep beat Paul VI 61-24. Those are things in non-public Group 4. When we come back here on the Mercer County Football Show, we will take a look at things throughout the rest of Mercer County, let you know the results and preview the games coming up this week. You're watching the Mercer County Football Show here on WBCB1490.com. We'll be right back.
The Gator Jerry Blavitt. And are you looking for the best local news coverage, the best sports coverage, both Philly and New York sports, and the best high school coverage? Then look no further than the Trentonian. It's the only local newspaper covering Mercer, Bucks, and Burlington counties 7 days a week. No one does it better than the Trentonian. It's coverage you can count on 7 days a week from Levittown to Burlington, Hamilton to Florence, Trenton to Newtown. It's the Trentonian.
Welcome back to the Mercer County Football Show, presented by the St. Francis Medical Center, your heart hospital in the city of Trenton, and also presented by the Trentonian. Check them out online at Trentonian.com. Taking a look at things real quick, want to mention Central Jersey Group 1. Defending state champions Florence fell out. They lost 21-7 to Point Pleasant Beach, but Burlington City did pull an upset, a 2-7 upset, as they knocked off South Hunterton by a final of 20-17, so a nice win for Burlington City.
Burlington City, Tony Sacker's ball club came from behind after South Hunterton up in Lambertville taking an early lead. Mm-hmm. And Burlington City came from behind and got a impressive 20-17 win. Florence went down to Point Pleasant Beach, where they were one of the higher-ranked teams in the state last year, and Florence knocked them off in the semifinals en route to going to the championship game out at College of New Jersey. Mm-hmm. That was part of the doubleheader last year, where Florence won the Group 1 championship, and Nottingham followed with its win over Neptune for the Group 3 title. Florence knocked off Point Pleasant Beach, but this year Point Pleasant Beach turned the tables and beat Grover-Poli's Flashes 21-7. Rancocas Valley, the winner of the West Jersey Football League's Colonial Division, lost a heartbreaker to Jackson Memorial Friday night, 24-21. Northern Burlington won it impressively, 38-18 over Highland Regional. Strange, I mean, the way that it works out in the NJSA. You got Northern Burlington, which is right borders on right here in Mercer County.
Right.
They're playing in South Jersey, and Burlington Township, which is farther south than Northern Burlington, they're in Central Jersey. It's crazy how the NJSA works that out, but I understand exactly, how those things work. And when we were talking about the non-public where Notre Dame, and you mentioned all the big guns, mm-hmm. Holy Cross 48-6 over Hudson Catholic.
Yeah.
So the Lancers move on into the second round. And, of course, they have a big Thanksgiving game coming up with Willingboro. Cinnaminson, which will play Delran, by the way, for the championship in the West Jersey Football League. I guess that's in the, I forget the name of the division. But right now, they're playing on Thanksgiving. I think they play on Thanksgiving Eve. Mm-hmm. Delran and Cinnaminson, they're both 3-1, and Delran is 8-1 in the playoffs. And Delran, of course, getting knocked off, but Cinnaminson getting knocked off, but Delran posting an impressive win to move on into the Central or South Jersey Championship. Consolation games over the weekend. We only had one winner in Mercer County, and that was West Windsor South on Friday night, which knocked off Freehold Borough 35-14. In other games, Steiner lost 14-0 at Jackson Liberty. Hamilton lost 32-8 at home to Monmouth Regional. The Hornets were in that game 14-8 at halftime, but Monmouth Regional pulled away. Hightstown lost Friday night at home to finish its season with 2 wins. They lost to New Brunswick 21-14. New Brunswick ended an 11-game, 2-year losing streak by knocking off the Rams in what was Pete Brescia's final game.
That's what I was going to say. We should mention Pete Brescia decided not to return over at Hightstown, so we wish Pete the best. Good guy, and always appreciate for everything he's done for us.
Princeton had a chance to pull out its first win and avoid an 0-10 season, but unfortunately the Little Tigers lost at Marlboro 28-21. Robbinsville lost 34-13 to Roselle. New Egypt, I think it's New Egypt's first win.
Mm-hmm.
They got now it's their second win. New Egypt posted a 22-20 win over Keensburg, and Willingboro rolled over Overbrook 40-6, while Mapleshade pulled out its third win, defeating Haddon Township 13-12. So those were some consolation game results, played over the weekend. And Riverside got trounced 56-12. Riverside drops to 0-9 because they've got Florence coming up on Thanksgiving.
We should have some very interesting games this week as we head into week number 2. This is the semifinal round of Central Jersey playoff action. First, Central Jersey Group 3, Lawrence takes on Carteret. Saturday afternoon at Lawrence, 1 p.m. kickoff. That should be a great one. George, you're going to be out there. If you want updates on that game, you can follow George on Twitter, twitter.com @GeorgeO'Gorman. That'll be the best way to stay updated on that one. That should be a very interesting game.
Hopefully Rob Radis' Cardinals will make it 2 straight playoff wins, 2 in their history, and get into the championship round.
Yeah, that would be great. Coming up on Friday night, hear this one starting at 6:45 with the Trentonian pregame show. 6:45 on 107.7 The Bronx and 107.7thebronx.com. Yours truly, George and Jimmy Z, will be out at Ocean Township High School as Hopewell Valley will be in action, taking on Ocean Township. That should also be an outstanding game. We're very much looking forward to that one. Burlington City will be in action. They will play Friday night at Point Pleasant Beach in Central Jersey Group 1. Tony Sack and his guys looking to pull off another upset.
And remember, Burlington City going into that game having won on the road at South Hunterdon. Remember, Burlington City beat Florence a couple of weeks ago.
Mm-hmm.
So Tony Sack's Blue Devils, they're a team to watch down there in Burlington County, and although they're playing in Central Jersey Group 1, but it would be nice for the Burlington City Blue Devils to get into the championship game.
Yes.
They got, of course, the big traditional, probably the second oldest rivalry in Burlington County coming up on Thanksgiving when they play Palmyra.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that should be an interesting one as well coming up on Thanksgiving. We did mention Trenton fell 28-8. You heard that one here on the WBCB Sports Network to South Brunswick. Certainly a great season for the Tornadoes over at Trenton. And I believe Tariq Coleman's going to stick around, and if he does, that program is certainly on the way up.
Oh, well, Tariq feels that, he's got some weapons coming back for next year, and Claude Townsend, I think, should be the quarterback, replacing Brandon Scott. Javon Clark, I believe, is coming back in the running as a running back for them. The one thing that he had really benefited this year, he had over 50 kids coming out during the course of the summer to get ready for this season. And as you saw from the picture in the paper, a lot of the Tornadoes were, crying. I mean, they thought that they could knock off South Brunswick, and maybe they could have, but they made, they had some penalties, and they really couldn't get their running game going. And okay, give South Brunswick credit. They won Central Jersey last year, and they got a huge test coming up Friday night at home up in Monmouth Junction. If you're looking for football and you want to see a good game, head on up. It's right up Route 1. It's just over the Princeton border. Yeah. I think you turn at Ridge Road heading north on Route 1. They're playing Hunterdon Central. Hunterdon Central went in and knocked off the top seed, I guess it was the top seed, Old Bridge, last week. Hunterdon Central had some early injuries in the season to 2 of its best players, and they're back, and they rolled 24-0, I think it was, over Old Bridge. So that should be quite a matchup. Hunterdon Central, which could win Central Jersey this year, going in to play at South Brunswick.
Yeah. And in Central Jersey Group 4, we failed to mention Burlington Township and Middletown South had a war, 52-45, points all over the place in that one.
That was probably one of the more surprising results that I've seen, because I've seen so many years where Middletown South playing over there what they call the swamp, even though it's now turf, but at one time Middletown South was, did have a grass field, and I'll tell you what, whenever they played a football game there, at least in the playoffs, it always seemed to be a swamp.
Yeah.
But I saw a lot of teams lose there. Trenton, of course, probably their best chance to win a Central Jersey title back around 20 years ago. I can still see Terrence Stokes diving into the over the top and getting, I know he was into the end zone, and the referee said no. But for Burlington Township, for Tom Madera and his ball club to go down there and knock off, to knock off a well-seasoned Middletown South team, which I think has won about probably 10 or 11 Central Jersey and North Jersey Section 2 titles. The home of No Sean Marino.
Yeah.
Who, well, okay, that's another story. When No Sean Marino stepped out of bounds at Ewing. But, yeah, Tom Madera, imagine Burlington Township losing, giving up 30-some points to Hopewell Valley, and then getting beat by Northern Burlington. I mean, two teams that have won their opening playoff games.
Sure.
Hey, Burlington Township, when they're on, they can do some things, and they obviously did it the other night.
Yeah, they certainly can. They'll be playing Brick Township in Central Jersey Group 4 playoff action. And at the bottom part of the bracket, we'll see Colts Neck and Nottingham. That game will be on the WBCB Sports Network as well. Check us out on Twitter, twitter.com at WBCB Sports. Not sure if that game's on BCB or if it's on 107.7. So be sure to check our website, WBCB1490.com. Sean Lerman will have all the play-by-play action for you in that one. But, George, it should be a great week of playoff action coming up here in Mercer County. We'll have wall-to-wall coverage for you on the WBCB Sports Network. Make sure you follow this guy on Twitter, twitter.com at George O'Gorman. He'll give you all the action in the Lawrence game. And as for Nottingham in action, as well as Hopewell Valley, you can hear those games on the WBCB Sports Network. So we got Mercer County covered.
We got them covered 3 games this weekend, and the WBCB Sports Network will have 2 of them being broadcast live, and you can tune into me to get some Twitter updates on what's going on with the Lawrence Cardinals. And Rich Fisher, by the way, I think he'll be tweeting on the North Stars game as they take on Colts Neck. Only 3 games this weekend, but 3 big ones.
Yeah, certainly so. You can follow him on twitter.com as well. Fish, F-I-S-H, the number 4, scores. Make sure you follow him on twitter.com as well. That'll wrap it up for this week's edition of the Mercer County Football Show. We will be back with you again early next week for another edition of the Mercer County Football Show. And we have some Thanksgiving games to preview and some playoff games to recap.
We've got the 56th year, I guess it is, between Hamilton and Steiner on Thanksgiving morning, 10:30 kickoff over there at Bill McAvoy Memorial Field at Hamilton. We've got the 2nd year of Hopewell Valley and Lawrence. This year they'll be playing at Lawrence. That's a 10:30 kickoff, I believe, or 10 o'clock. And on Friday night, Nottingham at Notre Dame. The Irish will try to get back and avoid a losing season as they host the North Stars in what should be an interesting matchup. Big game for both ball clubs.
Yeah.
And, of course, there's some other traditional games. You've got Burlington City and Palmyra. You've got, I think, Rancocas Valley playing Burlington Township. And I guess the Commanders Cup down in Burlington County. It should be Northern Burlington and Pemberton. And Florence and Riverside. Delray and Cinnaminson.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of games. And what do we have over here in Bucks County? I know Bristol-Marsville isn't playing, but Bristol is still in the playoffs, right?
Bristol's still in the playoffs. The one we'll have over here in Bucks County, we will for sure have Comaligan
and Truman, right?
Yep. Comaligan and Truman. That should be a great
at
one.
Hank Morgan Stadium.
Yeah. So very much looking forward to that. It should be a great week. And we mentioned the playoffs do take a break in Mercer County the week of Thanksgiving week, so all the Thanksgiving rivalries can be played. Again, that'll just about wrap it up for the Mercer County Football Show. We're looking forward to talking to you on Friday night live from Ocean Township High School as Ocean Township will be taking on Hopewell Valley. Until then, that's George. I'm Mike. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Mercer County Football Show. Best of luck to all the Mercer County teams this week, and we'll see you next week for another edition of the Mercer County Football Show.